I don't know about you, but I am not ready to give up on pumpkin season yet. Today, I have a couple of little sugar pie pumpkins, and we're gonna play around with stuffing them. I'm gonna be making a brie appetizer and a side dish that's gonna be absolutely perfect for Thanksgiving Day. For both of these recipes, I need to get our pumpkins cut open and gutted, or de-seeded, whatever you wanna call it. All right, now we have our pumpkins gutted, ready to go. While I start prepping the stuffing for both of these pumpkins, I'm gonna put them in the oven and let them cook for about 15 minutes, just to give them a head start. All right, so for our side dish pumpkin, we are gonna stuff it with apples and raisins and walnuts and spices and a little bit of coconut sugar. So I'm gonna get that one started first. We're gonna peel and core our apple and chop it up into little pieces. If you hear whining in the background, that's just our German Shepherd. She loves apples, so as soon as you get the peeler out, and she hears peeling and chopping, she thinks she needs a treat. This is a no measuring recipe. We're just gonna dump things, which is my kind of recipe. I have a bag of walnuts here. Just gonna take out maybe about a half a cup of walnuts, whatever you like. I'm just gonna give them a rough chop, not too fine. You want nice little bits of nuts in there. I'm out of cloves, but I'm gonna use some cinnamon and ginger in here. I might use some 5 spice too, we'll see. Pour in about a teaspoon of cinnamon. You could use pumpkin pie spice, apple pie spice, whatever you got. A little bit of ginger. I'm gonna use some Chinese 5 spice in here since I don't have cloves. It also has cinnamon in it. It's cinnamon, anise, fennel, black pepper, and cloves. But I'll give it just a little bit more kick, which I want. I have some coconut sugar. Depends how much you want in there. I think I'm doing about a little less than half a cup. All right. We need our pumpkin back out of the oven now. Okay, now we are going to attempt to stuff this baby. And some apples. Now I'm gonna put in some walnuts. And how much you can fit in is all just gonna depend on how big your pumpkin is, basically. I'm gonna start mixing in some raisins. Get those stuffed in here. And I'll just keep going back and forth between all the ingredients until we have this full pumpkin stuffed. And I'm gonna make sure it's packed in there pretty well. Golden raisins and dark raisins, regular raisins. You could use whatever you've got. Probably do cranberries. Any kind of dried fruit would probably be pretty good. All right, we definitely didn't need 2 apples for this. Probably could have just done 1. Try and get a little bit of butter down in here too, because butter will melt in there and make it extra delicious. Just like a tablespoon or 2. Top it with a little more of our nuts. And that looks perfect. This is gonna go back in the oven for probably about 45 minutes. All right, on to our second pumpkin. This one's actually gonna be our appetizer pumpkin, and it's one that's gonna really impress your friends, but there's really nothing to it. All we're gonna do is stuff this with some brie and top it with some preserves. So I just have this small wheel of brie. I picked it up at the grocery store. It's relatively inexpensive. And I'm just gonna take the rind off. in order to get this in the pumpkin, we're gonna actually need to chop it up into little bits. So that's why I'm taking off the rind. All right, we're just gonna fill this in here. I have these spiced peach preserves that I made this summer. I have a video of making this. I can link it down below. You can use any kind of preserve you like. We're just gonna top it off with that. And this is gonna go back in the oven. We have our pumpkins out of the oven, and I set them up here on my cutting board and made a little appetizer station, and we're gonna dig in. A little bit of that pumpkin, a little bit of the apples, piece of crusty bread, a little bit of our brie with preserves. If you like a melty brie appetizer, that's absolutely delicious. The peach preserves on top are really good. They'd be even better too if you had an apricot preserve, or even like cranberries would probably be good on top, and a little bit of a drizzle of honey. That would be delicious. The apples and the pumpkin and the cinnamon, delicious. So if you're looking for ideas this year that are just a little bit different for your Thanksgiving lineup, make sure you try these out.